those so that we can be mindful of your time.
Jill, do you have any extra?
Oh,
If they're not extra, I don't need.
I have plenty.
Thank you.
Has everybody had a chance on the committee to read them thus far? I'm happy to read it aloud. And I can argue that.
Yeah, that'd be good for a review.
Yeah. I'll start with the resolution to support the Commander-in-Chief of the military forces in the state of Texas. It goes on. Whereas Article 4, Section 7 of the Texas Constitution states, quote, "Governor is Commander-in-Chief of the military forces. He shall be Commander-in-Chief of the military forces of the state, except when they are called into actual service of the United States. He shall have power to call forth the militia, to execute the laws of the state, to suppress insurrections, and to repel invasions. Whereas Governor Gregory Wayne Abbott invoked Article 4, Section 7 of the Texas Constitution on November 15th, 2022, and declared an invasion of the state of Texas. And whereas the federal government of the United States has abrogated the responsibility to protect Texas, the states that form the Union, responsibility to protect the states that form the Union, and Texas specifically, from an invasion of foreign nationals that pose a clear and present danger to the life and property of the citizens of the state of Texas. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Tarrant County Republican Party calls for, without delay, the governor of the state of Texas in his capacity as Commander-in-Chief of the Texas Military Department and of the Texas State Guard, the organized state militia, under the authority of Title 32 of the U.S. Code and Chapter 437 of the Texas Government Code, to proceed with due expedience, to call forth the militia and direct them to secure the Texas-Mexico border. Forces mustered, including a general enlistment of volunteers for the Texas Guard, under the sole command of the governor of the state of Texas, must be adequately armed and directed to use such force necessary to achieve this objective. And at the time of my submission to you, Jill, I had 33 co-sponsors, precinct chair co-sponsors. My current copy is up to 35. I won't read them out for the sake of time.
This one, what you printed, wasn't it?
I didn't print the second sheet. I figured what you need was.
So I don't know if you want to discuss that one separately. I think I can go on to read the second one and then we can discuss them both.
That's fine.
Okay.
Because they kind of go together.
They kind of go together.
I would
Um,
even, if I may, go ahead, I would even suggest just reading all three of the border-related resolutions because they all go hand in hand.
Absolutely. Well, I'll let you take care of, you've got the other one, right?
Parliamentarian.
Sure.
Yes, ma'am.
Is somebody taking minutes of all this?
Nominated secretary.
Well, you've got 7 members.
Yeah.
That's true.
I'm just pointing out that there has to be minutes.
You're right. I've always done it in the past. I've never had anybody that's ever, who would like to take minutes? Anyone?
Come on, you volunteers.
But it just states that, it's not that I don't want to, you don't want me to.
I can, if need be, I can volunteer.
Sounds like
But
they need you, Sheena.
I
The
don't-
pay's not
do I-
very good.
The what?
The pay's not very good.
You know what? The pay in all of this is like
Yeah.
coming out of my own pocket, right? But do I just record? It's my first time, so
You get a
forgive my
file.
ignorance.
Just generally like, so here's what's helpful. I'm not on the committee, so officially I'm not supposed to do it. I'm still keeping track of my stuff. Just like if there's motions and seconds and that's just
Keep track of-
major stuff, if there's amendments, just help keep track. Jill will be doing it too, but it's always helpful if 2 people do it.
Okay.
That's why.
Okay.
That's the main thing. And at the end of it, you need to be able to put it in some degree of a format that you can sort of relate what happened.
Makes some kind of sense.
Like, this is not legal bound. It just has to.
Okay, gotcha.
Let me know when you're ready.
Like what I would say is Brandon read the first one.
Okay,
That's all. And you can like write on yours.
okay,
Like just make notes on the stuff you have and you can just summarize it.
got it.
Sorry, Brandon.
Okay.
I didn't interrupt.
Sorry.
That's fine.
I'll
I
go
mean,
with
I
the
didn't
second one.
interrupt, I guess.
This is a separate but related resolution, resolution to direct funding of the Texas Guard. Whereas the state of Texas currently maintains a significant budget surplus, Whereas the governor of the state of Texas declared an invasion pursuant to Article 4, Section 7 of the Constitution of the state of Texas on November 15th, 2022. Whereas the governor maintains sole authority over the Texas Guard, the state militia, pursuant to Chapter 437 of the Texas Government Code. And whereas the current Texas State Guard troop levels are inadequate to maintain full spectrum operations in the current state of invasion on the Texas-Mexico border, now therefore be it resolved that the Tarrant County Republican Party urges the legislature of the state of Texas, in cooperation with the commander-in-chief of the Texas militia, Gregory Lynn Abbott, appropriate from current budget surpluses sufficient funds to mobilize and equip such forces necessary to secure the Texas-Mexico border, protect the wall, end the invasion, and establish and maintain a state of peace in the state of Texas. And this resolution also has the same, currently the same 35 co-sponsors. And so I'll go on to discuss them as separate resolutions. The first one really deals with, my intent behind these resolutions is to express our political support for our governor, especially going into his new term, for a very, what I consider to be, and what I believe everybody should consider to be, a very dire and, in my view, existential threat to Texas, if left unchecked for much longer, quite frankly. And I want to express, and I would like the executive committee to express our support of the governor in any of his efforts, including additional efforts, and in the case of the second resolution, providing a method or suggestion and support for such said suggestion of how to fund the issue. Us being conservatives, we're not likely to support any significant tax increases for almost anything, although I would argue that tax increase for this purpose would be warranted. But that's unnecessary, thank goodness, because we have a $30+ billion budget surplus, which is way more than would be necessary to achieve this end. And to that end, I would like the Tarrant County Republican Party and us collectively to support our governor in his efforts and to make that a public issue.
Okey-dokey. See, wait, sure, you have a question?
If that's a motion, I'm happy to second it.
Well, he can't make a motion because,
You've already co-sponsored.
I know I am.
You have a
I have
question?
questions, yes.
Okay, please go ahead.
So it seems a little bit out of date, and I'm confused on some issues, because he's already allocated $4 billion towards the effort. And, which he said on November 16th, not November 13th.
I'm sorry, what was your name?
John Rigger, John. And then you talk about the Texas State Guard and the militia, and he never called up the State Guard, he called up the Texas National Guard, which is not militia.
Right, and the distinction
Are
there.
you asking to call the State Guard in addition to the?
Yeah, well, yes, the problem with calling up the National Guard is it can be ultimately taken over by the president, who's
Right.
not inclined toward our position.
Right.
The State Guard is not subject to that same authority,
Right.
and the State Guard is the organized militia as defined in
Right,
Chapter
that's my
437.
question. He has not called up the State Guard.
And you'll notice in the resolutions, I have not mentioned the National Guard
Right.
at all,
But you,
because I'm referring specifically to the State Guard to preclude the president in his complete dereliction of duty from further derelicting his duty and stopping the governor from achieving his objectives in the middle of his effort by nationalizing this Texas Guard.
I have a question. Does anybody know what the rules are of the state guard are? Because my dad was in the National Guard, and before that, reserves, and before that, the regular army. But does anybody know? Because I've always been told that they are there for crises like tornadoes and stuff like that, and they don't really have the authority to do this.
They have the authority of a militia. which is whatever
in
the
their own
governor
arm.
directs them to do.
They don't have any weapons training or
They-
their own arm.
This is
The
what,
governor can direct weapons training toward the militia and can create any standard of operations that he sees fit as the commander-in-chief of the militia under the, typically, the Guard has been only called out in emergencies because that's all we've had to call them out for. But we're in a situation where we need an authority in Texas to have, and we need additional boots on the ground and additional training to your point.
so
They
what
do
the,
have bi-monthly meetings and like groups that meet in Austin.
Yeah.
And the membership can be from 18 to 80.
Yeah, I know Ron was a captain. Okay. And anybody else was that a member of that?
There's probably several precinct chairs who are. in
You're a member of that?
the Guard.
Oh,
No, I just know a little bit about this. They are, a military force.
you scared me when you said praise.
I can tell you what the law says.
A little,
I have it pulled up.
little over 16,000 strong. Yes, most of what they do is deal with emergencies and things like this, but they are trained as members of the military. Many of them were members of the armed forces and U.S. Armed Forces, but it is specifically laid out in the Texas Constitution. And this is distinct from, it's part of the Texas military forces in total, but it is distinct from the National Guard. The National Guard can be nationalized, the Texas State Guard can't.
So what the
That's
law,
a key distinction.
so what the law says under, on the government code, chapter 437, under definitions, Texas Military Department means the state agency charged with administrative duties in support of the Texas military forces. Military forces means the Texas National Guard, the Texas State Guard, and any other military forced organization organized under state law. The Texas National Guard means the Texas Army National Guard and the Texas Air National Guard. The Texas State Guard means the voluntary military force that provides service and emergency response activities for this state, as organized under the Second Amendment of the U.S. Constitution and operating as a defense force organized under 32 of the Constitution.
And if I may add to that, because this is kind of my thing, this is kind of my arena, is the border. Those of y'all who know me and what I do in my organization, this is one of the things that many of us have actually discussed with a lot of bigger heads than just my own, that actually, and that's part of that kind of addresses another issue where now the Texas State Guard that is under the direct authority of the governor, as stated in our state constitution, has been watered down somewhat to just respond, but in its original, like to emergency, hurricanes, fires, what have you. But in its original form, just like you stated, that its original intent was also to be able to defend Texas, just like under Sam Houston when he called it an invasion against the Native Americans at the time, the Comanches. It's the same concept. So that's one of the things that makes Texas unique, is that our Constitution and our own military forces only under the direction of our governor has that authority. And so being able, and I've been down there with our Texas Guardsmen who have currently been serving on the border from the RGV,
But not Texas State Guard.
the guards that are down there, the national. It's the Texas National Guardsmen.
Right.
Yeah, correct, right now. But
That's why I'm confused, because
right.
he says he says State Guard here, he doesn't. Or he says Texas Guard, but he doesn't distinguish which one he's
Well, I
talking about.
don't talk about the National Guard for
You-
a specific reason.
But you talked about Texas Guard.
So is that something
Texas Guard
that,
is the actual name of the militia.
No, Texas State Guard, actually.
There's two different things.
Texas State Guard.
There's Texas State Guard and Texas National Guard.
so to your point then, are you then suggesting maybe a verbiage modification
If
to
you- yeah, if you wanna
specifically?
change it to be more
inject
specific
that?
with my intent.
That was my question. I didn't know what your intent was.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
referring entirely to the State Guard under the sole command of the governor.
When I went back to the November 16th, invocation of the nation. You talked about National Guard.
I know, and I understand that, but that's why I'm calling for, because at some point, he can call the National Guard he wants, and then President Biden says you can't do it. And then, we're $4 billion in the hole and nothing's been done. So this,
So I'm trying to wrap my head personally around what's different than what's already being done. What's different that you want to do that's already being done?
the Texas Guard has not been properly staffed or called upon to do its duty.
The governor's called up the National Guard, he's not called up the State Guard yet.
And I can verify that with my.
And he wants to call the
2
State
eyes.
Guard, position the National Guard.
So then to your point, to what you guys, the conversation that you guys are having then is, do you want to entertain a motion to inject that specific verbiage into the resolution?
Yeah, I think it needs any clarification, whatever, yeah.
Good. One thing, credibility means we get everything right and get comfortable with everything. Because I've been on resolutions committees before, I've been on, countless resolutions I've written, and they have short enough, shelf life. The other issue is that if we don't get everything right and we're sure about things, we end up losing credibility as a body. They always say that, because you want to make sure that it's there. I've been trying to find, because like I said, I don't know much about the Texas Guard except that Ron was on it. But I've also heard there's that the Attorney General had ruled that we couldn't do that. And I haven't seen that myself, but it was told to me by 2 or 3 people. And I've been trying to find it all day, wasted an entire day on it, and still can't find it. But I still think, if one of us or all of us, and Brandon, if you want to take the lead on that, we probably need to contact the AG's office and see what he says about this, because we don't want to do something and waste our credibility on something that can't be done. Because I think thinking outside the box like this is great. We all, I've come up with so many ideas on stuff, and only be told that it's illegal or stupid or can't be done. There's no money for it. Over the years, but we want, what I would like to see us do is make sure that the number one policy guy for legality is the AG, and do it. I've contacted the governor's office a few minutes ago to ask them what we could do it. If it was legal or not, and of course they're not working right now. They're on vacation. So,
Also,
and I think you're absolutely right about the credibility issue. But I think I'd have to also point out that as a political body, we're calling for what we want to be done, and if laws need to be changed, then they need to be changed.
so yeah, if we can change them.
Okay.
But do you have anybody to carry this for you?
Well, I'm not aware that the laws actually have to be changed, and I'm of the opinion that they don't have to be changed.
More than likely they do, but my guess.
I mean,
In none of the conversations that I've had with anyone, including Wade Miller, with Center for Renewing America, and those who've been on the forefront of trying to, Brent Smith down there, the Kinney County attorney who came up and drafted this idea of using the Texas Guard straight from the Texas Constitution. There would have been an amendment attached to the Constitution, and it was some type of citation notes stating something like to what you said. I'm not saying that it's not there.
Yeah.
I'm saying that
the Constitution as written has not been changed.
Right.
Well, I understand.
that I've been made aware of
But
than
the
anyone else.
leading authority on that is the AG, who's on our side on the board, period.
Yeah, and when we provide political support for action, he will follow suit.
Because this is essentially, like, this resolution specifically is supporting the idea of Governor Abbott, and our Texas state
I'm not trying to legislate
officials.
for the legislature or tell the governor how to do his job. That's not our role as a political body. Our political role is to express our will so that it is known, and then they can get to doing their job as our employees. However that has to be done, that's up to them.
Right.
are all of these different National Guards there you mentioned, are they all under one head?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. But the only one that cannot
And then report
taken
to
over
Governor.
by the President of the United States is the Texas Guard, the state, also known as the state militia. That's entirely a Texas
you
commanding.
John mentioned that
Texas
there's
State
the
Guard.
Texas
Texas
Air
State Guard.
National Guard.
The Texas Air National, Texas
And
Army.
that's what
I am in no way referring to the National Guard.
Because as of right now, to the point of what you guys are saying, right now our Texas National Guard is what is currently standing on the banks of the Rio Grande.
Right.
And right now they're currently acting under the direction and authority of DPS and Governor Abbott. However, if President Biden was to invoke them to the US, which is what what this conversation said, then at that point, the Texas National Guard would then fall under President Biden's authority. However, the Texas military, our own Texas State Guard, solely operates under, like, that cannot then be called under the direction of anybody in DC, if that makes sense.
You know,
It
I think
does
it's-
make sense.
Yeah, it's
Because-
pretty straightforward.
what's down there is our guys, our Texas National Guard.
Right.
Mhm.
Not the government. It only belongs to Texas.
There's
That's
the
not-
National
It's
Guard, there's the
national.
State Guard.
So they can be called up.
If the DC heads, if President Biden was to invoke them and say, let's say that, God forbid, there was a nuclear bomb, right? I'm just using this as an example. He could say, I'm demanding that all of the Texas Guard, or all of the state guards, or all National Guards from all of the states go, just like when they
Yeah, but
had
those are
them.
federally funded.
Yeah,
But what I'm referring to is the state funded. They're still considered a form of the Texas, maybe guard. I mean,
the Texas State Guard is the only thing that cannot be, now, if you're talking about a scenario where Governor Abbott is already taking these steps, right? He's already invoked the verbiage of a declaration of invasion. And if President Biden were to say, nope, I'm going to go ahead and federalize them, but then they are working for the Texas State Guard or for the Texas National Guard, and they're going, no, I'm going to serve Texas alone. They could then fall underneath, you know what I mean? But that's their personal decision, if that makes sense.
Well,
I've met the head of this
and disobeying the commander in chief of the
group.
United States is not going to work out for you. It's
Right.
not going to.
Exactly. But only the Texas State Guard, which is two totally separate things, falls under the direct and only the authority of our state governor.
I think my concern, but what I'm having a hard time wrapping my brain around is that this is not already being done. Because when I look at what the Texas Military Department says, it says that with the support of the Texas DPS, Texas Guardsmen, and other state agencies are working together to guard the border. So, and when I
Yeah,
look
but
at
I
the
mean-
law,
That could mean I've got 10 guys from the state guard down there and they're helping guard the border.
Yeah,
And then and that article is entirely accurate.
they have homeland security functions also, yes.
TMD
State Guard.
is the Texas Military Department, which includes the Texas National Guard, and what is sitting down there on the banks is only the Texas National Guard. He's requesting the Texas State Guard to be called upon.
And if you'll note in my resolution, part of the problem with the state guard currently for this purpose, I go on to say forces mustered, which is up to the governor and not to us, although we want more, including a general enlistment of volunteers, so a call for volunteers for the Texas Guard to beef up numbers under the sole command of the governor of the state of Texas, which is his legal authority, must be adequately armed and directed to use such force necessary to achieve this objective, which only the governor can do, since he's the only person who can command the Texas Guard. So these things are actually not being adequately done in any sense of the word currently. And I'm not saying there isn't a will or the governor doesn't want to do those things, but he needs to hear from us that he has political backing from us to take such steps, that he's not going to lose any political capital. He, in fact, will probably gain political capital because we are going to say that's exactly what we want.
Yes, Bill?
Um,
Sorry.
Two points I'd like to make. Texas State Guard is entirely a creature of Texas government. It's not there's no federal component to it whatsoever. There was a significant number of years when we did not even have Texas State Guard. We disbanded and brought it back. Yes, it has gone on to do more things, even to, take on some federal functions, but it's still a creature of Texas state government because the state constitution specifically references it and also specifically references that it's there in case of invasion and other things, but it's got a list of things. Okay, so yes, it's part of the department of the military department of Texas because that's the way we put it into our law. But it is, from the point of view of being able to be federalized, it cannot be because it's a separate creature.
Irene, does that clarify?
Well, I've met with the head of this Texas State Guard.
Yes.
And he was begging for help.
Mhm.
And like I said, members can be from 18 to 80.
I think that's kind of what this is.
That's what we're trying to address, is that cry for help.
And he, like I said, was begging for people, and he was going around and speaking to groups to try to enhance it and explain that they met in Austin, and they had summer guard even, training, and, they needed all kinds of support.
And they
Maybe
need,
if you
and they need
contact
support
him.
from the governor, from the commander in chief himself.
Well, if he's the head of
So
the
I think,
troops.
and again, this is my first time being here, so I might be out of process here. I think the specific ask on this then is that we just clarify some of the language, because it's not really up to us to determine whether or not that we're not voting on this, we're sending this to the larger body. All right, so if we can provide some more specific
Sure.
clarity.
I agree.
So do we want to make a motion to what your point was earlier, about specifically adding that verbiage of state?
Or you wanted to remove the word state and just say Texas Guard, is that correct?
No,
It's Texas State Guard, correct?
You talk, which resolution?
right now you just say Texas Guard.
Resolution is
It
direct
says
funding of
Texas
Texas
State
Guard.
Guard here,
Right.
This one,
Texas Guard here, you would
Right.
like to add state.
This honorific, the honorific of the governor.
Okay, well, we can make that, I think we need to make a motion for that.
Where is are you screaming?
Well, it'd be-
Yes.
everything,
Where is
every
that?
mention of.
On my
Texas Guard is
Facebook
down. This is just an excerpt from the
Is
Constitution.
there any places on
This
Facebook?
is,
No, that's where I stream it. I stream it on Facebook. I just stream it on Facebook.
well, you should make a
Okay, so
motion
I know
to
somebody
adjust
wants to
the,
join, but he's not on Facebook.
Oh,
the date.
I'm sorry.
I'm
No,
I'm not on the committee, I won't.
I do have it going right now on my personal YouTube
Actually declare
as well. Do you want me to try and send you the link for that?
Yes, I was just gonna give you.
It may not be the best,
But he didn't invoke Article 4, Section 7. He didn't. Well,
Thank you.
And then wrote another letter asking for more support from the
well,
National Guards. And
technically, you can invoke something more than once. He invoked it again.
now, you have to use an executive order to invoke it.
That's okay.
Once. So I wrote a letter asking for more support to support the executive order.
Okay, well, I don't attach to any particular date.
Focus, yeah.
So I'm just saying.
So you can make a motion to change them to whatever date.
So I'm reading.
All right, thank you.
So I'm reading that, and all that National Guard there.
All right.
But I don't,
Yeah.
the date is unimportant. If you want to change it, make a motion. You're on the committee, not me.
But you're rewriting it though.
No, I'm not. It's now a function of the
Yeah,
committee.
so we can, I can entertain some motions here.
One change, on the resolution, direct funding of the Texas Guard,
Well, we're doing the first one first.
which is the first one.
the support, the
Support
commander-in-chief, this one.
I might suggest, if someone wanted to possibly make this movement, make this motion, you might want to combine these two.
I agree with that.
But if you go with this one, you should combine it with this one, so it becomes one resolution.
I
I disagree.
I disagree, and I'm happy to explain why.
Okay.
If you combine them, and there are some similar language that overlap, I understand that. But if you combine them, you bury the call to use surplus funds in a larger resolution, whereas that political move in and of itself should be addressed separately. And there may be those that, I support both, but there may be those that support one and not the other, because it's a budget issue versus an action issue. And
Well, here's the other thing. Who do you want these
I
to
don't
go
want-
to? Who's the call to?
the call is to the governor. But in the other one, this one's to the governor as
It
commander in
doesn't say
chief.
that, right?
This one is it says it's a call to the governor in cooperation with the legislature.
Because the legislature does the,
Does the budget, so see how there's two different audiences also, you're right about that, Jill. And so for those reasons, I don't think it's appropriate to combine.
okey dokey.
You guys understand, excuse me, Jill, that we have to be out of the church at 12 noon, period, hard time. They're having a funeral around 2 o'clock, and they ask us to end it then and clean up after ourselves really well, because the pastor called me personally to inform the party, and the longer we debate on some of these things in the meeting, the less chance we're gonna get all our business done, so. So keep that in mind when we're doing, if you guys want to get something passed, be succinct.
In my judgment, these are very clear, concise resolutions that shouldn't require much discussion at all.
For any reference, last year on September 11th, 2021, we passed a similarly spirited resolution. It didn't take much debate at all, and we won overwhelming support in very short order, even though we had to suspend the rules to take it up because it had been posted on the website. So coming out of the committee, I expect that process will be much cleaner and even faster than the prior.
And honestly, all three of the border resolutions that have been presented that will hopefully move out of here and be presented to the EC on Saturday all fall right in line with the Texas with the RPT as well, and with the oh my gosh, the verbiage. I can't even think.
Yeah.
See, that's what happens when I don't get to drink my coffee.
And
That
were I to
Don't know what I
get
mean.
up at the EC meeting in support of these resolutions coming out of the committee, that would be the first thing I would mention.
Yes.
I hope somebody does that.
I can definitely do that as well.
Thank you.
It's
Unfortunately, I'm here tonight, but because of the EC meeting being moved around, I'm on a camp out with my son and the scouts, so I will not be at the EC meeting.
I think we'll be able to garner a few in support of this.
Yeah, well, as you can see, I submitted them with significant support to begin with.
Will you have enough s'mores for the trip?
Well, in the Boy Scouts, that's up to them.
Yeah,
But
that's
for the
good.
adults, I don't know, whoever the grub master is.
Okay, so does anybody want to make a motion to change? I know that you had some concerns about injecting some of the verbiage. Did anybody want to be able to do that?
Technically correct, yeah.
Did you want to make a motion?
So we only need one chair.
Yeah,
Okay.
true.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I'm like, I'm just trying to keep going.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So,
Know your role.
I'm sorry. It's okay. Is there any motions on this resolution?
I'm
I know.
just parliamentary. You can make the motions, you know.
Well, it was him that wanted the,
But he can't make a motion, he's
not- No, him.
No, John.
John.
John, do you have something you
I
want
don't
to
want to
change?
steal.
Well,
I already moved out of my lane. I'm trying to get.
I moved that we make it technically correct to define that we're talking about National Guard and State Guard as appropriate in there. And correct the date of when he initially called it when LSC ordered
When he
Yeah.
invoked his initial executive order.
his single executive order, this one.
Okay, so what date, first of all, let's start at the beginning with the date. What date
I
are we
can
doing?
say that. The date was, so he issued executive order GA-41 on July 7th, 2022.
Can we read that?
What was the executive order?
Yeah.
It's online.
I mean, for the sake of the committee, we're trying to get it right, we should all know what it says.
And then he issued a letter on November 16th that called out on that executive order and asked the National Guard, the DPS to expand on their efforts in that area.
I'll second that
Yeah, so
motion
there's actually
because
two
I'm
days.
aware of
So
what
there's-
letter you're referring
There's
to.
two different documents there.
So it would be, whereas Greg Abbey invoked blah, 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 Texas Constitution, of the Texas Constitution on July 7th, 2022, and November 16th, 2022.
Yeah, and
Declaring,
further expanded or something, yeah.
let's say, I'm gonna change, I'm also, I think,
Or July 7th and reiterated,
And
something like that
right,
on
November 16th.
November
right,
16th
Right.
to Resident
That'd
Biden.
be
Can we
better.
put that in there? Resident Biden? No?
so, you said, on July 7th and reiterate, is that what you said?
Reiterated his,
On November 6th, declaring an invasion,
right.
just said, took out declared, and made it declared. All right, all those in favor of changing it to whereas the governor, Greg Abbott, invoked Article 4, Section 7 of the Texas Constitution on July 7, 2022, and reiterated on November 16, 2022, declaring invasion of the not of the United States, of the state of Texas. All those in favor of that motion?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okey dokey. Where, and then your next motion was to change the resolve to calls for without delay the government expansion capacity for the Texas Military Department and the Texas State Guard.
You wanted it to say just Texas Guard, is that correct?
No, Texas State Guard.
Texas State Guard, so
That's
further on it says,
That's it.
in the last sentence, it says
Texas
Texas
Guard.
Guard, and he wants it to say Texas State.
I'm gonna add the word state there, is that correct?
Yeah.
Thank you for catching. It's a good
All
change.
right, so the motion,
And probably when we talk about declaring the invasion, we probably need to say that he called out Texas National Guard there.
okay, so you wanna go back, okay, let's do one thing at a time.
I actually would
Well, hold-
advise not to mention the Texas
well,
National
hold on
Guard.
one
Well,
second.
then they're gonna say, what do you recall out guard?
Okay, hold on one second, hold on one second.
There's no, a lot of people don't know what the difference is.
So-
That's true.
Where you say forces including, you want to add the word state guard, that's that, in that last sentence.
Which
Forces
one?
muster including a general enlistment of volunteers for the Texas, add the word state
Oh,
guard.
State Guard, right?
All right, go second on that one.
Second.
All
Okay.
in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okey dokey. Now, you wanted to go back and look at,
So how does that read now?
so now it reads, resolved that the Tarrant County Republican Party calls for without delay the governor of the state of Texas's capacity as commander-in-chief of the Texas Military Department and of the Texas State Guard, the organized state militia, under the authority of Title 32 of the U.S. Code and Chapter 437 of the Texas Code, to proceed with due expedience to call forth the militia and direct them to secure the Texas-Mexico border. Forces mustered, including a general enlistment of volunteers for the Texas State Guard, under the sole command of the governor of the state of Texas, must be adequately armed and directed to use such force necessary to achieve this objective.
Okay, so that was another change then.
Okay?
Where it says, with due expedient to call forth the militia.
Uh-huh.
The militia should be the Texas State Guard.
I would, okay, yeah.
Right.
I mean, it's already, the militia is already defined above the Texas State Guard, comma, the organized state militia. So it's already.
I agree with that, but down here,
I mean, it's in the same sentence. It's you wouldn't want to define it.
I can see people being confused.
I think you're very confused.
Okay, fair enough.
But
Because that's your whole point is to proceed with due diligence call for the Texas State Guard.
The state guard, and I think you're right in, I mean, there's synonyms if you want to put in state guard instead.
Militia,
Because
kind of wishy-washy.
Well, to your point of people don't know the difference, that's why I made the distinction that the state guard is the organized state militia.
But that's not what the law says.
And I agree with that, right.
What it says under the, it does not call the Texas State Guard the militia. So somebody could say, well, that's
Yeah,
not
militia
under
is
the definition.
an official name.
And I think to your point earlier about the time constraints, the hard stops that we have with this upcoming, to possibly avoid any issues of arguments,
Fair enough.
I think it would be,
I'm okay with that.
No ambiguity.
Yeah.
So keep it clean and concise.
Exactly.
So the motion is to strike the word militia and add Texas State Guard. So we'll just read. Resolve, the Tarrant County Republican Party calls for without delay the governor of the state of Texas in his capacity as commander-in-chief of the Texas Military Department and of the Texas State Guard, the organized state militia, under the authority of Title 32 of the U.S. Code and Chapter 437 of the Texas Government Code, to proceed with due expedience to call forth the Texas State Guard and direct them to secure the Texas-Mexico border. So motion is to strike the word militia and add the Texas State Guard. Correct?
Yes.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
If we're taking out militia and the later, if we're taking out militia, do we even need then the organized state militia? Do we need that phrase?
So
I
that's just kind of a comment on state guard thing.
think it would be confusing.
I'm fine with that.
I could see that being
Just make
confusing
it as
to the,
clean as possible so that we don't do this.
all right, so,
Okay, so then I make a motion to remove in the comma, the organized state militia. Remove that text.
Okay.
I'm sorry, where is that line? I'm sorry.
Same paragraph,
In the
third
Same-
sentence.
Yeah.
Okay, I see it.
Third
I see
line.
it. Thank you. Sorry.
I see. Okay,
Brandon, do you understand why?
To avoid confusion, I understand and I agree, but just for everybody's information, word militia is in the U.S. Constitution, and the organizing a state with a state militia is exactly what the Texas Guard is. It is a state organized militia.
Right. For sake of
But
a larger body.
I do not disagree with that at all.
They even say that out there.
You know what, if we spend
Yeah.
an hour discussing abortion and we're all conservatives,
Yeah,
can you imagine?
I am so on board with this. I totally.
exactly.
So where you going, Dan?
Yeah. Sorry, guys. Yeah.
Throw it in there and then run.
Although I was fully intending on attending on the 16th, by the way.
Okay. I've heard a first and second on that, so all those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right.
All, as unanimous. You can write it down.
Okay. Any other,
I have one change.
okay,
This is on,
On the second one.
the resolutions.
okay, well, wait a minute, then let's finish this one up then. Anything else on this particular resolution? All right, let's take a final vote. You want me to read the whole thing as is now?
Yes.
Okay. Whereas Article 4, Section 7 of the Texas Constitution states, Governor as Commander-in-Chief of Military Forces, he shall be Commander-in-Chief of the military forces of the state, except when they are called into actual service of the United States. He shall have power to call forth the militia to execute the laws of the state, to suppress insurrections, and to repeal invasions.
I knew I'd get militia in there somewhere. That's out of the Texas Constitution. You can't take that part out.
Is it, I'm sorry, is it repel or is it repeal?
It's repeal, I always said repeal.
It's stated
It's
repel.
No, I think it is repel.
And it's repel.
Repel.
Yeah, okay.
You're right.
Okay.
I copy pasted out of the government website.
No,
so-
I made a
So I just
mistake.
wanna make sure.
I made a mistake.
What is
I want to
I
make sure
Well,
that.
that was me. I'm thinking about repealing the
Yeah.
Mexicans.
You're
Sorry.
repelling.
Repelling.
Repelling the
yeah.
Mexicans. Spring parade. Okay, whereas Governor Gregory Ray Abbott invoked Article 4, Section 7 of the Texas Constitution on July 7, 2022, and reiterated on February 16, 2022, declaring an invasion of the state of Texas.
Yes, you need to use the.
And whereas the federal
That's got
government
it,
of the
Governor
United States
Gregory Abbott.
has,
That's
I can't say this word,
Abrogate that.
This one needs it.
abrogated the responsibility to protect the states that form the Union, and Texas specifically, from an invasion of foreign nationals that pose a clear and present danger to the life and property of the citizens of the state of Texas. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Tarrant County Republican Party calls for, without delay, the governor of the state of Texas in his capacity as commander-in-chief of the Texas Military Department and of the Texas State Guard under the authority of Title 32 of the U.S. Code and Chapter 437 of the Texas Government Code to proceed with due expedience to call forth the Texas State Guard and direct them to secure the Texas-Mexico border, forces mustered, including a general enlistment of volunteers for the Texas State Guard under the sole command of the governor of the United States, governor of the state of Texas must be. Hey, wouldn't it be better? if
Anyway,
we were gonna, you know,
The governor of the Republic of Texas.
must be
There you go.
adequately armed and directed to use such force necessary to achieve this objective.
So when you read this at the EC meeting, you'll have to be the one to point out when they ask about state guard. You're going to say that the EO executive order called out the National Guard and DPS.
Well, that's only if the questions are raised.
Yeah,
It is,
that
I
question,
don't think
right.
I'm the one that answers that question, is that correct? I am the one that answers
You're the
that?
chair
Oh,
of the committee.
you're the chair, yeah.
Because this is part of your report.
Right.
So when it comes time for committee reports, resolutions committee reports out, two
Yeah, you-
resolutions, 12 resolutions.
You can
whatever.
take deliberative making that distinction if it becomes.
Okay. The
Right.
reason I asked is I know I'm not supposed to advocate one way or the other as, you know, making more of a report, so that was.
Well,
my
if
question.
it's a simple question of, do you mean X or Y? You could say, the committee debated.
It's a
and it is-
clarification.
It
of
is
facts.
noteworthy that the state guard, the National Guard are different. The militia and state guard are the same.
Okay.
Actually, what'll happen is Rick will be reading, the resolutions will be read. Rick is gonna be bringing them up one by one for him to go through the deal.
Right.
She will read them.
Well, she'll read them through there, but she won't be running the meeting as far as motions and things of that nature. That'll be Rick will be doing that.
Right.
Well, and they'll
If
be,
there's a question as to what that is, Rick can turn around and ask for clarification from her. Otherwise, she'll still be on the stage.
I would expect that on this.
So, okay. Do you, the only thing that I don't see in this that you might want to add, where you want copies of this
To go to?
to go to,
I think that's an excellent idea.
or what you want, so. I might entertain that motion if someone wants to make something.
I
like
make a
that.
motion to inject information of where the adopted resolution, if it gets adopted, is going
Be
to
it
be sent
further
to.
resolved statement.
Or how would that be added?
Yeah, if they resolve this, copy of this resolution shall be forwarded to.
Should we say the governor's office and
And
Legis-
every legislator, as far as I'm concerned.
maybe every Republican legislator? I don't know. They can all get them.
it was up to me, it'd be every citizen of the state of Texas.
Write a check.
It's like, yeah,
Yeah.
that's over 32 million emails, sir. I don't know if my
I'll get the Republican
subscription
list.
to
I'll
MailChimp
bet it
covers
down to
that
half that.
many.
Be it further resolved, this resolution, sorry.
Let me give you this. This is a similar resolution,
Mm-mm.
that paragraph in the end.
Yes, thank you.
The fifth.
Sent to Governor. All right, this says, resolved sent to the governor, the lieutenant governor, each Republican state rep. Do you want, so y'all, did I hear y'all say you wanted governor and each Republican state representative? Or
Is
just
it,
to the governor?
do you want, how do you,
Be it further
to the
resolved,
governor
this
and
resolution sent to the governor.
GOP
To the
legislators?
governor and the members of the legislature.
There you
All members of the legislature?
If you're a member of the legislature, you're a member of the legislature.
It's gonna be an email only.
go. Probably.
Well, you can hand deliver it yourself if you like.
No, because I have to figure out how to get it to all of them. Okay.
By courier.
Pay for airplane.
By pigeons.
There'll
By
be-
the Texas
There'll be
State
no
Bird.
Christmas party this year, so there's not be any.
I might take it upon myself to send a copy to the governor by mail.
There you
Okay. All right. Go back to the resolve part. I'll tell you.
May I make one more suggestion since I'm not remembering?
Sure.
Can we make a further resolution to post the resolution on the website somewhere?
It's
So
supposed
that,
to be.
but they're not.
Okay. I will-
They're not. You cannot find any resolution any ratified resolution by the EC committee is not posted on the website. The ones that are considered by this committee get posted on the website, but not the ones that actually get voted into.
I will remind the executive director he needs to do that.
Okay, well, then we don't have to put it in there, and I'm fine with that, but, and for this reason, not only should we have a record of what we've done as an executive committee, but I'd like to take the link and pass it around.
Sure. Okay.
They're included in the minutes of the EC meeting, so they are somewhere, but they're hard to find.
Right, I'd like it, if possible, to have it a separate page for each resolution. That just seems practical.
I don't know if they can, I don't know how our
They can-
website works
they can-
or what they, but I mean, we can.
Can Ricky do it?
Something. I don't know, but I will ask him about it. Okay, so this is what the final resolve part is. Resolve, the Tarrant County Republican Party calls for without delay the governor of the state of Texas in his capacity as commander-in-chief of the Texas Military Department of Texas State Guard under the authority of Title 32 of the U.S. Code in Chapter 437 of the Texas Government Code to proceed with due expedience to call forth the Texas State Guard and direct them to secure the Texas-Mexico border. Forces mustered, including a general enlistment of volunteers for the Texas State Guard under the sole command of the governor of the state of Texas, must be adequately armed and directed to use such force necessary to achieve this objective. Be it further resolved, this resolution shall be sent to the governor and all members of the legislature.
Make a motion. Wait,
Two.
this is the one that we're working on now, correct?
No, we're finishing the,
Dang it.
no, we haven't gotten to that
Really
one.
wants that
I really want that
He
done.
really
We
wants
haven't
to.
gotten to that one yet.
I want my mark on this, guys.
All right, so, all right, that's the final wording. So we will take a roll vote on that.
On just that
Just-
addition
Uh,
or on the
oh
whole?
yeah, that's right, we didn't, on the addition, sorry.
I need I didn't
Sorry,
get a
sorry,
second
okay.
for, I motioned, but I didn't hear a second to the motion of adding
You
that.
don't see this second.
No? Okay.
I have
Alright.
a little question.
Sure.
It ends up all members of the Texas legislature.
Oh, right, yes, I didn't need to add the word Texas, you're right. Okay.
Good catch.
Yeah. Minnesota is not gonna get anything out of this.
You never
You don't
know.
pick on
They might need to get after those
They might get
Canadians.
inspired.
You never know. Okay. All right, so now we take a roll call vote on this one. This is. Okay. Mary Childs, yay or nay?
Yay.
Laura,
Yay.
Steve,
Yay.
Mona, yay. David,
Yes.
Karen, here, James is not here, Emma's not here, John.
Yes.
Sheena,
Yay.
James is not here, and Robert's not here. Okay. All right, now, Steve.
Okay, this is a major change, so be prepared here. On the resolutions to direct funding to the Texas Guard.
Now we gotta make a Texas State Guard.
The State Guard, okay.
So somebody's got a motion.
All right, I'll move that, State Guard, that's two things I get to change.
Yes.
All right, here's my major change on the resolve part, where it says that the Tarrant County Republican Party urges the legislature of the state of Texas, in cooperation with the Commander-in-Chief of the Texas Militia, that Governor Gregory Wayne Abbott, we need to have the honorific added.
I think that's appropriate.
So that's my major change, so.
Hold on one second.
I'll second.
Steve, you made your mark.
Yeah, thank you.
And then you wanted to do after that the second one, right?
I didn't see another one that was in there.
Just to add the Texas State Guard.
Oh, yeah.
The verbiage change that we did
Okay,
last.
so you want to, okay, hold on.
The Texas State
Where's
Guard.
Texas, purpose, where the state of Texas, invasion, blah, 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 where the governor maintains the sole authority of Texas Guard. You want to take out Texas, okay, so we want to add in that second, third paragraph, I guess, really.
The honorific of governor. Fourth.
Well, the governor in the last paragraph, so let's take care of his motion first.
Okay,
There.
you want to, okay, your first motion was to add the word Texas State Guard, correct?
Yeah,
In the text.
you can do them both at the same time,
Okay.
since they're minor things.
How about if we just do that real quick through the whole thing, and as one big motion?
There's
Perfect.
at least 3 places.
So
Don't,
there's-
don't tell Susan, she'll, hammer us.
Not for that.
Do we want, well, let's just fix this. With that, see. Okay, I think I changed, all right, so all those in favor of changing everything to State Guard? Aye.
I,
Okay, what about, this kind of goes with it, where it mentions state militia? I want to delete that, because we deleted that in the last one.
Consistent with the prior.
Yes.
Yeah. My vision
Need a
of state
motion?
militia means that you see David Wiley with a cigar and whiskey in camouflage out
That might
there.
actually solve the problem.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it, everybody run the other way?
It'd be definitive, that's for sure.
Okay,
He is part of the state-
And this is
he's part of
recorded.
the state guard, so,
I know. Is he?
yes.
Don't we have some of them in jail from J6?
I don't know.
Well, I don't think there was any, no, I don't think so.
all right, so here's, so I have all those in favor of removing the term state militia? Aye.
I,
Okay, done. Okay. Any other motions on this one?
You'll have to change the dates consistent with the prior.
right.
All right, John, do you want to make that motion?
I move that we change the dates,
To match like this last one that we did.
Match the other.
same paragraph to the other.
Perfect. July 7th, right?
July 7th
20.
and reiterated on November 16th is what we had on the last one.
15, okay. All right,
And you may want to add the further result clause on this one.
not really great. Reintegrated, not regenerated. This does not want to mind. Okay. Then, okay, all right, do I hear a motion on any other further, on who we want to send this to? Hint, hint?
You want to send it to Biden to make his head explode?
You have to have somebody read it to me.
Only when he's propped up.
I'll make the motion to add the verbiage.
I said,
Do we want to just include that like we did the last one as well?
same verbiage as last time.
Yeah.
Be it further resolved, this resolution should be sent to the governor and all members of the Texas legislature. That,
Yes.
all right, all those in favor of adding that, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed. All right, here's the, anything else? All right, here we go. Resolution to direct funding of the Texas State Guard, whereas the state of Texas currently maintains a significant budget surplus. Whereas the governor of the state of Texas declared an invasion pursuant to Article 4, Section 7 of the Constitution of the state of Texas on July 7th, 2022, and reiterated November 15th on 2022.
I think
16.
So, you're right, 16. Whereas the governor maintains sole authority over the Texas Guard pursuant to the
Texas State Guard.
Texas State Guard, you're right, pursuant to Chapter 437 of the Texas Government Code, and whereas current Texas State Guard troop levels are inadequate to maintain full spectrum operations in the current state of invasion on the Texas-Mexico border. Now, there be it resolved, the Tarrant County Republican Party urges the legislature of the state of Texas, in cooperation with the Commander-in-Chief of the Texas State Guard, Gregory Wayne Abbott.
Governor.
Governor Gregory. Steve's gonna be real steamy today.
I'm going to filibuster.
I'm trying to get that in there, didn't
Sorry, y'all.
We never did second that motion.
State Guard, Governor Gregory Wayne, it sounds strange to say that, Gregory Wayne Abbott, appropriate from current budget surplus funds to mobilize and equip such forces necessary to secure the Texas-Mexico border, construct a wall, and end the invasion, and establish and maintain a state of peace in the state of Texas. Be it further resolved, this resolution shall be sent to the governor and all members of the Texas legislature.
Beautiful.
Any other? All right. Let's go. Okay. All right, Mary.
Yes.
Yes.
I
I,
Supposed to say yay, yes, I.
any of the above works.
Mhm.
Affirm,
I affirm this.
yes, yay, Steve,
Abstain, no, I'm kidding. Steve, yes.
Mona,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
You didn't make Governor big enough, so.
John.
Yeah.
Sheena,
Yay.
okay.
We're good.
Now, then we have one more. I think my question on this is, and I assume everyone's read it, what's the difference between this and what's already been done?
So this is, you're talking about the declaration, the resolution to protect the
Citizens
citizens.
of Tarrant County, yeah.
That's my resolution
Uh-huh.
that I submitted.
Uh-huh.
It's not stating anything different at all. If anything, it's actually just showing support. There's currently 40 counties which have passed declarations or resolutions on the county level throughout Texas, and we anticipate a lot more. I know I just spoke in Llano and in Amarillo, that I anticipate those areas to get on board. Somerville, I know there's some working on it in Denton. It doesn't change anything. What it essentially is doing is just stating to the federal government that we are a united Texas, and that we are fully supporting that in these unprecedented times, our governor and our state law enforcement is having to do and take unprecedented measures, and that we just support that. Obviously, we're just supporting our governor as a body, as an EC body, being the base of our governor, and then hopefully also as well our county officials that will make similar declarations as well, showing support for that as well. So it doesn't change anything. It's just, and it falls right in line again with the RPT, with the resolutions that has already been passed through the RPT as well. So it's not anything new. It's just as a body that we show support for those things. That's why I kept it short and sweet and to the point with the now therefores. And I also included in here some of the specific ways that Tarrant County, that Tarrant County has been directly impacted. I can include more as well, but that would be something that I would do when presenting it to our county officials.
Okay, then, so this all said something, then what do we want to do with it?
Show the support and same thing, and yeah, I'll probably add that same line of verbiage of sending that to our governor and to our state legislators, showing support. And then presenting it, possibly also presenting it to our county commissioners and judge as well. I would add that for this specific.
I thought you said this was a federal thing.
A federal thing?
Did you, at the
Well,
beginning?
it cites the US Constitution.
Oh, okay, that's right.
Yeah, I said the U.S. and I don't have my copy, but I can pull it up.
Oh,
But
here's another one right here. I knew I had more.
From a functional standpoint in the EC, I think this resolution would be the one to present first.
yes, and then do the other
And then the other
consequential ones.
two, and then the budget one last, right? Because they kind of each fall one after the other in terms of this.
Yeah.
This basically becomes a rationale statement for the next resolution, which then becomes its own rationale statement for the final resolution.
Yeah, this basically cites both the United States Constitution, that the sections that authorize that, and then also the Texas State Constitution as well. And it's like you said, just showing support essentially, and setting the stage for the other two resolutions regarding the border.
Well,
But
it does a great job of citing specific examples of the danger at hand.
Thank you. I could add more. I could add a lot more.
Well, here's the thing about resolutions. You
I
want to
kept
keep
it-
them as short and sweet and to the point.
Yes, and that's exactly what, like, this right here was painful for me. I just want you to know, this was like painful.
Cut to the bone. Cut to the bone.
I cut out like a lot.
I hear you.
It was painful.
I understand.
But I did it with that intent to keep it short, sweet, to the point, and but I think the only thing that if I can make a motion to add, just like we did with the other two, of specifics of where to send this resolution to, I would use the same verbiage, but then also add sending this to our incoming, thankfully, our incoming judge and commissioners. And I would just make a motion to add that towards the end.
In case you need his name.
Huh?
In case you need his name.
Yeah, I don't know if I know. I mean, I don't know if I saw enough signs or delivered enough precinct letters with his name all
I
over.
had a constituent say, you know, the Irish guy.
Hey, whatever works to stick.
It's one of him, so.
And income.
Incoming true Republican. But no, Republican county.
O'Hare. Where did I hear that name? Sounds so
Sounds
familiar in the Tarrant, in all Tarrant County.
She's competition to come take her signs down off of Davis.
All right, okay, so now here's what, well, it all stays the same as what's written, except we added this verbiage. Be it further resolved, this resolution shall be sent to the governor, all members of the Texas legislature, the incoming Tarrant County Judge, Tim O'Hare, and all Tarrant County Commissioners.
Yes. And I don't know, I just want to open if we need to. I have someone sitting there. Did you want to make any comments to this?
Oh, this specific resolution?
Did you,
I'm-
do we have a time?
I'm sorry, are you a precinct
I'm
chair?
so sorry. I'm a precinct chair for Parker County, but I'm also the SRAC for Senate District 30, and I'm on the Legislative Priorities Committee.
Oh, okay.
So Sheena and I have talked about this and about passing them through the counties and whatnot. But I'm sorry, I came in late.
Oh, it's okay. And I can't see you because you're right
I know,
behind
I'm
Bree.
sorry.
I didn't even know you were here.
I'm so sorry.
All of a sudden, I just hear it and I saw some blonde hair. kind of all of a
Like,
sudden.
I just wanted to make sure and pointing out if anybody wanted to share support.
Any other information?
I mean, I will say that we get a lot addressed to the state and addressed to federal, but having something that reminds your county that this is amazing and this is where the people, this local government is where they started. So that's the only problem.
Yeah, I mean, I would like nothing more than to see Tarrant County follow suit with the 40 other counties in the state of Texas.
And climbing, there'll be a lot more.
And climbing, and let's not be the last one to sign on to this thing. Let's jump on as soon as possible.
And to that point, Tarrant County, thankfully, would be the only red metroplex area that would have our governor's back. And we need to show that support to our governor and to our Texas law
If
enforcement.
Tarrant leads the way, I mean, so many other counties will jump on.
Yeah, more will, but we're the only ones, thank God, that are still here for the metroplex. Let's make a big
Yes.
bold stand.
We're the last red metro area in the nation.
Exact. Oh gosh, that makes it really ouch.
No
That
pressure,
makes-
folks.
No pressure.
Dang.
That's why this last election was pretty damn important.
Yeah, it was.
You need Sheriff
Have some minor
Wavered in there?
persons.
You
Ooh,
need Sheriff
Sheriff.
Wavered in there on that list?
Yeah, they're,
Anyone
Oh,
like
that's
to
a good
make that-
idea
anybody
to
like
add
make
to.
that
Waver's and
motion?
Tarrant delegation are all over this already. They've already written legislation.
Huh? I'm sorry, what?
I said the Tarrant delegation and the sheriff are all over this. They've already written legislation about the fentanyl.
Yeah, and he's been very vocal, but I agree, you mean, and to make a motion to also add that to send it to
If you'd
the
like.
resolution.
Yeah, let's
Support.
include the sheriff.
I think that's a good idea. I'd like to make a motion to add that. Thank you. That's good.
Second that.
And the question is, do you want to add it to the DA?
Send it to everybody. Everybody's getting a copy.
Well,
We got an email.
and Phil, yeah, I mean, you could have.
It's
Phil.
free.
Phil. Okay, so Tarrant County Sheriff.
Oh yeah, the new incoming DA. Yeah, yeah,
and
like that.
Tarrant.
Everybody,
Everyone getting it.
everybody.
Day one on the job, so here you go.
We are not a, I mean, well, let's think about how we want to say this. Y'all help me out with this part. Be it further resolved, the resolution shall be sent to the governor, all members of the Texas legislature, the incoming Tarrant County Judge, Tim O'Hare, all Tarrant County commissioners,
Do we want to say current and incoming on everything?
Okay, that's yeah, I like that.
Have to make a motion.
uh,
I make a motion.
motion.
I second that.
Current,
Stay
yeah.
current and incoming on all of the designations.
Okay. County Judge, Tim. So we don't probably list.
Yeah, we don't
Tim's
need to
name.
put up any specific things.
Yeah. Let's just say, we don't need the current. Be it first. Yeah, we might want to fix this, because I don't think we care about sending it to what's his face. All members of the Texas legislature, the current and incoming Tarrant County Judge, Tarrant County Commissioners, Tarrant County Sheriff, and Tarrant County District Attorney. We don't really want to send it to Sharon and Glenn, yeah, Glenn.
Oh, for old Glenn, a little goodbye note.
So,
I'm gonna say it.
Well, and I like the idea of, honestly, because it's something that would, I like the idea of abstaining from sending to them to give them, I mean, they're gonna know, they have their little moles and minions, whatever, but the less ammunition that we give to them, I think the better in preparation of presenting it to the county officials when those true Republicans take office.
so we need to change the wording on this.
So newly elected officials and
Current,
current officials and,
yeah.
I know where we're going with it.
Hold on.
Just name them. Just name them.
We did. Okay, that's a good idea. All members of Texas legislature, the chair, in the newly elected Tarrant County Judge, Tim O'Hare.
You don't need all that language.
Yeah.
Okay,
Just
what do
say Tim O'Hare.
Just Tim O'Hare.
Just say Judge-elect Tim O'Hare.
Okay,
DA or, so,
DA-elect Bill Sorrells.
Just leave the commissioners on of it, other than Tim over here.
They'll disseminate it. They're supposed to disseminate that to the court.
okay.
Okay.
We'll make sure they get it one way or another.
So they'll get it.
You having fun yet?
I'm having a lot of fun. You see my chicken scratch over here? I
I'm
got,
impressed.
All
Well,
members of the
just
Texas
review it if you
I don't even know if I can even follow along.
Review it on your.
yeah, exactly. At least I got this. I can go back and double check.
That's what Dana does. She records everything and
It's a good
then writes
idea.
it from there.
New elected, what she said,
Or you can just put
elect instead.
district attorney elect Bill Sorrells.
He's been in Hawaii, Turkey.
Lucky.
Then the volcano erupted and I guess he had to leave.
Well, I hope he's getting ready to go to work.
Did he cause that?
I don't know.
It's funny that he had to leave by the time it erupts.
Yeah,
He is interviewing people right now.
I did ask him to get me a rock from the top of that thing.
That's everybody.
That's what caused it.
Okay, let me see if I got this right. Be it further resolved, this resolution shall be sent to the governor, all members of the Texas legislature, the newly elected county judge.
She said just say Tarrant
Just
County
say-
Judge-elect.
Thank you. That's what I needed. Karen, okay. Texas legislature, Tarrant County, am I gonna add the word Tarrant? Tarrant, okay. Be it further resolved, this resolution shall be sent to the governor, all members of the Texas legislature, Tarrant County Judge-elect Tim O'Hare, Tarrant County Sheriff Bill Wayburn, and DA-elect Phil Sorrells.
I would spell out district.
District attorney, yeah.
You need Tarrant County District Attorney elect.
And all the county commissioners, right?
Well, I guess like she said, I guess giving it to just,
They're supposed to disseminate everything to all
Oh,
of them.
okay.
So
Yeah,
for
I
the sake
think
of brevity, you don't need to list it. I mean, you're gonna watch it.
Tarrant County.
I think you're right.
But-
Give it to Tim and do his job.
yeah.
You've got to talk to them to get the votes. So.
Well,
Okay,
ideally subsequent to this, we can.
be it further resolved, this resolution shall be sent to the governor, all members of the Texas legislature, Tarrant County Judge-elect Tim O'Hare, Tarrant County Sheriff Bill Wayburn, and Tarrant County District Attorney-elect Phil Sorrells.
Bingo.
Pretty much names everybody.
That's it. Okay, so we didn't change anything in the body, so I won't read all that again. And then we just added what I just said. So, unless y'all,
I have a small change.
okay, sure.
And the first two now are therefore be resolved. They're just grammar. So read the first line of the first one.
Now, there.
I'm sorry, where are you? Where are you?
The first line of the first resolved.
I'd probably just say, take out now therefore.
Okay,
And
so just
say,
to,
be it resolved, Tarrant County Republican Party recognizes that extraordinary and unprecedented measures must be taken to ensure the protection of health, safety, and welfare of the Tarrant County residents.
Yeah, so now therefore actually should go at the end of the last paragraph.
Taking out,
Take out that period.
let's say, hold on, you want, okay. So take out now therefore, be it resolved.
Yeah, and then at the end of the previous paragraph.
That goes at the end of whereas, Jill, is what he's trying to say.
Yeah, if you look at my resolution,
Okay,
it's
I'm
the
sorry.
proper form.
I did- I'm sorry.
I had to look it up.
I was like, it doesn't go on
Cornell
the next, I was going to the
University or
wrong
something.
paragraph. I'm sorry.
So it just starts out resolved.
Yeah, yeah.
Be resolved.
Just be it resolved?
Well, it's now therefore be it, if you look at my prior resolution, but it's at the end of the whereas statement, and then resolve is the first word in the resolve statement.
I'm gonna just wait for the final copy because it's not registering.
They're just grammar
Yeah, and
changes.
I was looking at the wrong place. When you kept saying, and I kept going, but it doesn't go there. Okay,
I guess
fixed it.
third from the bottom at the end, semicolon now therefore be it.
Yes.
Or at the- on the last whereas.
She-
statement.
Yeah.
Then,
And
Yeah,
then
gotcha.
So
the
just-
rest of that line,
Be it further, okay.
Tarrant County Republican Party, comma.
Like that.
Have it-
Okay.
And then the last one will say be it further resolved.
Okay, that'll be,
Okay, so this
so then just the second one will just say,
now semicolon.
All the same, it's just some.
Be it
Just- okay.
resolved, be it
resolved, got it.
resolved, yep.
And the
And
website said technically resolved should be italicized. I don't know why, but I think I only did it in one of them.
it doesn't matter. I'll make them all look the same.
I'm not making a motion for that.
I'll make them all pretty.
I just like when you get into the weeds on this stuff, right, Susan? Like there's format.
There's tons of it.
Yeah.
Just remove the word.
Further, yeah, I'd work. Okay, so it would say, resolved, Tarrant County Republican Party recognizes that extraordinary and unprecedented measures must be taken to ensure the protection of health, safety, and welfare of Tarrant County residents, fellow Texas counties, and innocent exploited children. And further, resolved, Tarrant County Republican Party fully encourages and supports the governor of the state of Texas to take necessary steps as allowed under Article 1, Section 10, Clause 3 of the U.S. Constitution, Article 4, Section 7 of the Texas Constitution to secure the Texas border and stop the invasion of our sovereign border. Be it further resolved, this resolution shall be sent to the governor and all members of the Texas legislature, Tarrant County Judge-elect Tim O'Hare, Tarrant County Sheriff Bill Rayburn, and Tarrant County District Attorney-elect Bill Schwartz.
So they just take out comma after Republican Party, Tarrant County Republican Party on both paragraphs.
I did now.
I would put a the in front of Tarrant County Republican Party on both those.
So there is a Texas State Commander, Texas State Guard Commander, excuse me.
Right.
Nathan,
Do we want this to go to him?
he's a good guy.
That's not a political position.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he falls under the purview of the governor, so.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. You can do it.
But you can send it to him.
Yeah, you can send it wherever y'all want.
Sure, okay, great.
But generally, political things go to political people and administrative things go to administrative people.
I got it, thank you.
Okay, so any other motions on this resolution? I do not hear any, so we will now vote. Okay, whoops. This is not there. Other spreadsheet. There's my spreadsheet.
you're not done yet. Oh my God.
Okay, this is,
What? I usually carry 1,000 milligrams of time.
all right, Mary, yes?
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Jay. Laura? Yippee. Atwell?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Oh, yes. Sorry.
Mona?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
John?
Aye.
Gina?
Aye.
Okay.
That was not enthusiastic.
All
It doesn't count.
righty.
Doesn't count if it's.
I just wanted to say again, thank you all for putting in the time and being here to work these resolutions out. I know I personally appreciate it. And I think the last thing to say would be, I would just suggest that Sheena's resolution be offered first and the budget resolution be offered last when presented at the event.
I have one suggestion when you're camping out. Vienna sausages will save your life.
And I
If
think
the
that's
kids are
some in my
cooking.
freezer. I'll get one.
They're not very good, but they save your life up there.
Hey, Brandon, thanks for your time putting it together. This committee.
Yes.
My duty.
Okey dokey. Let's, look at, resolution on censure of John Cornyn.
Yes.
All right. Susan, as member of our SREC.
There are three of us here.
Oh, that's true, I do. All three of y'all can speak to this.
And two formers.
And two formers, that's right. We got a roll. Would you like to, could you fill us in on Rule 44 possibly?
Probably not tonight, no, but
I can.
more than tonight. What exactly, so, I mean, I don't know exactly where everybody wants to go.
Wherever y'all want us, yeah. I don't know if I can do this as the chair.
So, can do what?
Well, as, I believe that this is against our rules currently, this resolution.
May I make some background on this particular resolution?
Well, let's take up first things first.
Okay.
Bill, you've got three SREC members here, and I'm on the rules committee. I can explain whatever we need to explain. I just don't want to spend 45 minutes giving a whole history and explanation of Rule 44 until I find out
I
what we
didn't even
want
want
to
to do that. All I want to do is look at what you got, and then I can tell you whether it needs a form or not.
Well,
I authored the, well, I didn't.
Well,
actually,
I know.
authored it,
This
but
is
I
not-
presented the original
so,
It is,
Rule 44.
we are past the time for this meeting to be over, so we need to be a little expedient.
Well, I don't think you're gonna be able to do this tonight.
well, hold on. a
I can
minute.
tell you
Let's-
whether it's the proper.
Well,
form or not.
hold on a second, Bill. So here's my question. As the chair,
Mhm.
I see that there are problems that are against Rule 44, that this is against our rules. Can I, as the chair?
You may ask a ruling from the parliamentarian. That's
So
the
here's the
proper.
thing, the body can take up any resolution that the body wants to take up,
Okay,
okay? For it to have the effect of Rule 44 of RPT, it has to conform in all capacities
Sure.
to Rule 44. So can you guys take up this resolution? You can take a resolution of anything you want.
Okay.
In whatever format it ends up.
Since we're out of time, why don't we move to table and take it up next time?
Postpone, not take.
Oh,
I mean, you can do that,
Do
yeah,
that
you
too.
can do that.
I highly recommend that.
Bill and I are on the same page on this.
wow.
If this is Bill and I are frequently on the same page.
No,
aren't we?
we understand the complexity of this. This is not an easy.
It's not a simple thing to do, so I think if the author and this body is committed to working through all of it, it would be worth your while to take this up on its own in a couple of ad hoc Zoom meetings, work through all the things, get all the wording that you want in there the way you want it. And then go through the checklist of everything in Rule 44, and I'll work with you on it, and we'll check everything off. And if you can get where you need to get, then that's fine. But there's a bazillion moving pieces to it, and you can't get it done. Let me back up. If everything sailed through tonight, we can't do it on Saturday.
Yep.
That's the most important thing to understand, because
Right.
there's testimony opportunities, there's notifications, there's a whole bunch of things that have to happen. And if those things don't happen, none of this works. Okay, so this is the body's decision to take it up or not, I think. That's where I was going with this bill. Before we go through the whole litany of the,
Yeah, because this is a process that you have to go through, and it doesn't happen in one meeting at all.
Right.
May I ask a question?
Sure.
What is the history behind this? Because it come from Harris County?
I know that. May I?
Sure, go ahead.
I'm from Harrison County. So this is particular EC is what censure happy. They've censured the governor 2 or 3 times. They censured their own state rep by inviting him in the middle of the special session to speak to the EC. It's a closed meeting, which is not supposed to be, and he was supposed to give a speech. Well, it was right in the middle of one of the big abortion bills during the special session, so he couldn't leave Austin. But they didn't tell him they were going to censure him while he was there. So this is, it was out of order when it was done. No, I mean, that EC there is just a mess. is an absolute mess. And they did not follow the rules. They never have followed the rules.
So why is it in front of us?
But someone submitted it as a copy.
So we don't know the author.
Uh,
We don't know it came from precinct chair.
I know that Holly Clemens forwarded it.
Okay, so the idea is that
No,
you guys
she's
are
a
saying,
precinct chair here in Tarrant County.
But so resolved that the Republican Party of Harrison County in there.
Yeah.
I
so-
thought resolutions had to have an author, and there was none. That was another question that I had. You know, and in Harrison County, it was like, okay,
That's Marshall litigation. I know you know.
So we can, so all of those things would have to be resolved by the committee as far as wordsmithing is concerned. She submitted it as just a forward from Harrison County. She didn't change anything in it. The reason I think personally, again, this is my interpretation of the rules, is that it talks about three things. You have to have 3 violations in a biennium. And the 3 violations that this talks about did not occur in this biennium. So that's why I don't think it follows the rules. However,
I'm sorry, forgive my ignorance, what's a biennium?
Good convention.
convention to convention.
Okay, all right, thank you.
2-year period.
Okay, thank you.
So that's my personal opinion. So I think that it gets thrown out on its merit because of rules. However, I'm not the judge and jury. I'm here to chair the committee. So I will do what the body
You're the
wants to
hangman.
do. So I will entertain whatever motion we can motion to keep it, table it, whatever we
Motion
want to do.
to postpone. Is that what-
Could I make and I'm asking, could I make a motion to table, postpone, whatever the verbiage is, and to possibly consider a different
format.
format of a resolution with the same purpose? If that makes sense, like with the same intent or the
Yeah,
same
because
intent.
anybody can
Resolution
say-
saying, I'm mad about this.
Well, like
I
a,
don't like this, or I wish this,
Yeah.
or whatever.
Anybody can write it.
yeah,
That's
like
different.
kind of like with the idea of what whoever it was that submitted it to, of like a censure of this person, to maybe reach out to them, like you guys were saying,
Yeah.
and say, we know what your idea was, but we think at this point that it's not going to follow along with the rules, and to make that, like, is that, and to make one that might follow, at least so that your idea, the intent behind your resolution has an opportunity to even be heard, if that makes.
Well, I would say this
Be
body has
considered.
you have the latitude to act. This has been submitted to you. You can take this, just like you wordsmith anything else, you can take the whole thing exactly as it is. You can change it to just a standard resolution. A censure is a resolution that calls on action to be taken, okay? So did I state that right? Y'all agree with that?
Right, you're-
So it's still a resolution, but what you're so any Rule 44 censure is a resolution from a county body for the RPT to do something, okay, to act on
It's
it.
the vehicle which is used to get the disagreement moved to the state level.
In terms of what she is saying, what I suggest is y'all just create a subcommittee, refer it to me. Some of us who are pretty familiar with this, Susan and myself, we'll sit down and work with you, we'll try to take this and then come up with something that makes some kind of sense to come back to the full committee. That would be really a better way to deal with this, rather than just throw it out as postponed.
So
And after the first year, we could get together and try to figure
That's,
out.
I'm happy to do that. That's Rule 44. If you just want to do a straight resolution that says, instead of a Rule 44 against mint chocolate chip ice cream, just do a straight resolution on mint chocolate chip ice
Yeah,
cream. You can do that
it's a ice
tonight.
cream.
You can do that tonight.
You can't use the word censure when you do that, because the state party chair is ruled. If you use the word censure, it has to be Rule 44.
Yeah, and if it's not exactly according to everything in it, then the whole thing it'll be ruled out of order. So mostly what I'm saying is you're on cracked ice depending on what you want to do. And if your goal is to get to over here via Rule 44, you can't get there tonight. If
Right.
you want to start the process tonight, you can do that. If you want to just do a straight resolution for the sentiment of it, that's totally fine. and then present that. That can be presented on Saturday.
Well, and Senator Cornyn is about to violate the principles. He hasn't yet done it, but he's gonna do it.
Well, and he's,
You know, you're gonna
he's
have-
already
we're
done
gonna
a
have
few of
more-
them.
We're gonna have more examples of him violating principles.
And that's kind of my point too, is that I think that there is ample examples, honestly, and that's why I asked of that
Well,
specific.
just on this specific one?
Exactly, right, like, so to be able to, like you maybe suggested creating, and I think the idea even of a creation of a subcommittee, because this is probably not the only resolution that we're gonna have these similar type of issues with, so like that subcommittee would be for those purposes of other examples like this.
That's the body's discretion, I'll just say that.
Yes, boss.
So who does it go back to if you don't have an offer? I mean,
Well, we just
Just rule it out of order.
we can either, we can either postpone it, table it, vote to do nothing with it, table it, postpone it to discuss in a committee, or pass it.
You could choose to disregard it altogether, as there is no specific author here. Go back to the original author and ask them if they want to do some work on it. I mean, there's a lot of options you can do.
what's the outcome of a censure?
Nothing.
I mean,
I mean, it's calls for him to resign. He's not
Anymore.
gonna resign.
he's not gonna resign.
He's not gonna resign.
I know that there's a few other counties that have successfully passed resolutions calling for censure of John Cornyn specifically. And so I know that, for example, if you get, a certain number of censures of counties that GOPs that have censured, it shows like it basically it doesn't do anything. Like it's not going to do anything, but it does show, and they might reconsider running again as a Republican. And I know that there was two, I think it was congressional people or possibly House representatives here in the state of Texas, where they were censured by a certain number of counties. I think it was congressional, a certain number of counties, and it discouraged them from running again. So it's basically voicing our
It's a
displeasure.
political.
But
Yeah.
it's much easier to pass a resolution on a specific issue that you're unhappy about. Because, the original theory behind this was, this is the nuke. This is the last resort you do before you go through the steps. Say, if you see legislation coming up, you're supposed to contact your representative or senator and say, I don't like this, please don't vote. And then after he votes the wrong way or she votes the wrong way, then you say, you screwed up. I don't want you, I'm very unhappy, so therefore the resolution. And if it keeps going, then because a lot of times things on the surface are not what they are when you start digging into things. So you got to be exact and precise about whether they break the principles of the party or not. Because like for example, and we're going to probably talk about this in a minute, the abolitionists stand. There's a small minority group that wants to go after the women for the death penalty. But on the surface, it looks like you're voting against a pro-life bill. But then when you figure out that, oh, wait, this is a retroactive thing that we're going to go all the way back to 1973 and persecute mothers and try to get them in court and everything, that makes a whole different story. So it's a complicated thing. You have to have some policy analysis type skills to be able to really get into this. But on the other hand, we got some people that need to be run off, be honest with your primary. But that's the thing. We have a primary system to get rid of these guys. That is the number one way we make changes in our party. And this is kind of the last resort. I remember some of the SREC members used to say the censorship was the final resort for people who can't win primaries. And to a large degree, it's true. But if you want to do this, or just, I would like to make there's a motion on the
Yes, I'd
floor.
like to make a motion that we postpone this.
Okay, we are second.
I said,
Okay, all those in favor of postponing?
Aye.
I,
All those opposed?
Nay, I think I would rather, but it doesn't matter.
Start from scratch.
Yeah, I'm like, I already was outvoted. I was gonna make a motion rather to move it to a subcommittee or something for further
I
consideration.
mean, that's.
Which is kinda
we can
same-
still-
we can do that next
still do
time.
that. We can still do that. Yes, Brandon?
Just a quick comment, with regard to censures in general. I see Steve's point, having specific examples is always helpful. But that resolution might be too long, for him. But in terms of those, censures, yeah, we have the primary process, but the censures, if they're widespread enough, are the preliminary step of the people and of the grassroots of the party to make a political statement on the larger scale that will encourage somebody to enter a primary, right? Like if I know that John Cornyn is just had censures across the board all over Texas, I'm thinking my chances are pretty decent to beat him in the primary. Not one censure in all of Texas after all these years of his disastrous representation. I'm like, well, people of Texas just don't get it yet. I'm not jumping in the race and spending all my time and money to try to beat somebody that hasn't even got one censure. So I see it as a political statement from the grassroots.
It's not, it's from the ECs. It's not from the grassroots.
Well,
Here's,
the EC of Tarrant County, with regard to the state of Texas, is grassroots.
no, the
No.
voters are the grassroots.
Well, sure.
Here's the one thing I will say about a censure. It's up to your body. But we pass a censure, money dries up for Tarrant County.
I was gonna
Yeah,
say, it's really the bomb, like the last thing, and I don't know that I'm prepared to have this type of discussion yet at this point in time.
Is there a different verbiage or like a slap on the wrist without using the specific censure? Well, maybe
I'm
that's a
gonna say
discussion we
I-
can have later,
Yeah.
but yeah,
Can
sorry.
you elaborate on the money issue?
Why?
Well, you said that funding would dry up. I mean,
Because
I
we
just don't know.
become,
It's the bomb.
we
You're
become
done.
the party now that hates everybody, and we're not gonna donate to
an
it.
example for the state party, this, you saw you weren't there. If you were there, one of the 5,000 people that were there, when John Cornyn spoke, he paid 50 grand to the state party for the privilege of having that speaking deal
You're talking about the
in
convention?
the state
Well,
convention.
he used
He got
$50,000.
And he got
Yeah.
booed through the entire one.
So,
You had Michael Quinn Sullivan and Luke Messias up
I'm
front
just saying,
cheering that.
there's nuance. It's not like it came out of his
Yeah,
mouth.
I
But
mean,
yes, I understand.
I get the booing, but not through the whole thing. But, and he wrote a $50,000 check. So you're seeing all these elected officials say, why should I give them any money if they're gonna treat me like that after I donated that money? And, they got a real good point there. I don't like John Cornyn at all,
Well, it's a two-way street, but I see it.
And that's probably the reason that the state party lost $250,000 on the convention.
And if you don't believe that, donate your time up here to answer the phone.
Oh, yeah.
And hear
I
what
just
comes in.
wanted, because I didn't know. That's why I asked.
okay, well, we have motioned and passed to postpone this. Now, do I hear another motion to do something else
Yeah.
with it?
I'd like to make a motion to possibly create or move this to a committee to further, I don't know the verbiage, work on this, I guess.
Subcommittee?
Subcommittee.
Okay.
I'm like, thank you, help me. I'm still new, I'm still wet behind the ears, so thank you.
You're good. Okay,
To do the thing.
to do it,
Do the
to send
thing.
it to a
All the
subcommittee. Perfect. Okay, all the second, all those for subcommittee, all those in favor of subcommittee, say aye.
Aye.
All those
Aye.
opposed?
Nay.
I think it's a waste of time.
1, 2. I had a 1 yay, 2 yays.
Sign the censure, yeah.
Yeah, abstain. I'll do what the body wants.
So I have a 2 yay, 2
Stop now.
nays, 1 abstain. What'd you want to do, John?
I'm going with them.
Oh, 2 abstain. Would you? So I got 3 abstains and 2 yays and 2 nays, correct?
Yeah, I guess it dies.
No, that means I
This
Why
have
are
to
you
time.
looking
vote.
at me?
No, that means I vote,
No.
correct?
I was
Abstain
tiebreaker.
wins,
Abstain wins.
unless you're gonna cast a vote.
What does abstain mean?
It
No.
means no.
It means nothing.
Just a no vote.
It's a no vote.
It's a no vote without a no vote.
Can I make the case and make an argument for my case of my vote? Is that a thing? Can I do that?
Probably need to do a motion to reconsider. In general,
But
you
you'd
have
have
to
to
have a
vote no.
majority in support of whatever number is here. So anything else is a no, for the sake of counting votes.
Okay. Okay. So
So you need 5 to agree to pass it
to
on.
pass, okay. Would you like to make a motion to reconsider?
She can't she if she voted the same way?
You're a committee, you can just.
Well, we would-
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just, you can just informally do it.
You can informally, okay. If you'd like to make your case, make your case.
Well, I think, my case is this, and number one, I think that it would be good to form a subcommittee for issues like this already. And I think that the idea of whether it ends up being a censure, whether it ends up, whatever the verbiage, a slap on the wrist, I mean, we know that it doesn't really do anything. And the concerns are valid about the funds. So maybe we work on some of the verbiage or whatever. But I think that especially given the fact that right now I can, right off the top of my head, think of 2 things specifically that Cornyn has recently done, and a third that he's going to, more than likely, he's already shown that he's going to go ahead and vote for more amnesty. That would be a third. He's made those comments already. And given the what happened at the convention, I think that it's worth at least reconsidering and spending the time with, and I can take that up, to reach out and take that time, maybe not use the specific, I don't know, however it ends up being, it doesn't have to necessarily be a censure, but I'm just saying that if we just table this complete or just disregard it completely, I think that there might be a few precinct chairs that are going to be very upset by it.
Well,
to at least bring the
may I
case.
make this comment on it? One, if, all you have to do is resubmit another resolution. That's all you have to do. So you do your homework on it. If you want to be the author or get a couple people together and do it, just resubmit a valid deal. And then present it to the committee. So there's no problem there. If we create a committee to handle this specific thing, it's kind of like hiring a lawyer. He will invent things for us to do. So we'll get a plethora of useless censorship. Oh, they missed a day down there in Austin or did something. And we're just going to get a flood of them. And so I recommend we do not set some sort of ad hoc committee up to consider this because, I don't like lawyers either.
Then just vote no, Steve.
What's that?
Just vote no and stop abstaining.
Yeah, okay. I'm just making it. No.
Okay, well, at this point, we don't have a subcommittee unless there's a motion to reconsider it. Because we have pretty much 5 no's.
Okay.
So we will look at this again at our next meeting in January, I guess. So, because we motioned to postpone
And
it.
my information is Cornyn's probably not going to run for reelection.
Yeah, I mean, regardless.
He
it's
didn't want to
probably
run
just there.
last time. He got talked
So
to.
just so that I have it for my records, there was a total of 2 yays, 2 nays, and
3
abstentions.
abstentions.
okay, thank you.
Coward-
trying to
Do
keep
you
a-
know who talked him into it, Jill? I'd like to take some notes.
Okay. Cowardly knows.
Trump is one of them.
Ugh.
He's
Killing
Trump's
me.
guy. He's Trump's guy.
His wife did not want him to run.
He's a money guy.
Yeah.
All right, one more and that's it. This one is the resolution for conservative leadership in the Texas House. Has everybody read this one?
Mhm.
I assume I don't need to read it. Do I need to read it? Do you want me to read it? There it is.
I would just like to make a comment that, in support of this, just because it, like the other border ones, it falls in line with the priorities that was set by the RPT.
The one thing I will say, I don't know that it's necessary to say all Republican state representatives from Cherry County should publicly support legislative priorities of the platform. They already do that when they file for office. Because they have to agree to the platform.
That's the first be it resolved?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
The third, first be resolved.
Do they?
Yeah, actually, you
You
could
do,
make
it's
the
in the
case they
rules.
all do.
It's in the rules.
Because what, oh, you talk about, do they follow them or do they?
No, do they pledge to?
Yeah, they all.
Yeah, you have to, when they file.
Even when the RPT screws up and does stupid things in their legislative parties, like the death penalty for one.
So I would just say, I think that that's redundant, but
I'm
Yeah,
sorry, you said
yeah.
that you think that what
I think that is extra.
Yeah, I move striking that sentence, please. Or that,
Striking,
striking the.
striking the last sentence in that be it
I'll put
resolved.
it on my computer because it's much easier to do it here and I'm trying to write it. So you're moving to all Republicans, state representatives from Tarrant County should publicly support legislative priorities. Strike that.
That entire sentence.
Oh, you want the whole sentence?
Yeah.
All Republican state representatives from Tarrant County should publicly support the legislative priorities of the Republican Party of Texas and co-author legislation which Republican Party of Texas says accomplishes those priorities.
You can't ask them to do co-author legislation. That's just not feasible to do.
Okay, so there's a motion on the table to strike that sentence. Is there a second?
A second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All those opposed?
Nay.
Okay, I don't hear one nay, the ayes have it. We delete that line. So it becomes, we call for the chairman of the RPT and of every elected state representative in Tarrant County to adhere to the RPT platform and obey them. Why would we call for the chair of RPT?
Yeah, I moved to strike that part also.
Yeah.
He already has.
Yeah.
Publicly.
Well, it's.
Yeah. So we should.
The state party has a similar resolution.
What is the language again? It says-
Right now it says, we call for the chairman of the Republican Party of Texas and every elected Republican state representative in Tarrant County to adhere to the RPT platform and ban Democrats from holding the committee chair positions in the House of Representatives.
Well, to adhere means even if they've taken a note, it's to follow through.
Yeah, but the chairman's already publicly.
Yeah, but
Talk to
the
them.
chairman doesn't, and the chairman doesn't vote on the chairs.
Right, but he's already publicly said that he supports it.
Yeah, well, I mean, for that position, I can understand.
Yeah, he doesn't vote on who the chairs are.
And there's a similar resolution on the state Republican Committee website.
So
What's
you're,
that?
so you're
That's
going to
what-
strike reference to the
It's
chairman.
better quality
Right.
resolution for the same
But
topic
keep
on the state
representative.
website
I see, okay.
right now.
Here's my other question, guys. It's not just the state house. The Lieutenant Governor also appoints Democrat chairs to the Senate, and we're
And
only,
he's been the worst offender for them.
and we're only asking for the state house to do it here.
How many has he done, Bill? Do you know?
Well, you know how it is in the Senate. I mean, they think they're all buddies.
Oh, wait a minute, before we talk about that, we need to talk about striking chairman of the Republican Party of Texas. All those in favor of striking that?
So move.
Second.
All those in favor?
I
Okay,
would like
Now
to
we
make
have to-
a motion
okay.
on that, since we're on that same paragraph.
Uh-huh.
I know that we already struck that, and maybe this is just an addition to the leftover remaining sentence or newly formed one sentence.
Mhm.
I like the, I think the verbiage that, the reason why I voted nay in the last one was because of that specific verbiage of stating should publicly support. I get what the other part of it was, like, we can't demand other people to co-author, that's absurd.
Yeah.
But I like the idea of maybe adding that specific verbiage of publicly supporting, because we do have the vote coming up, soon. And we want to see that public support. And we will hold them accountable for all of those who do vote for a speaker that, I'm hearing myself, a speaker that, allows.
This isn't about the speaker.
Right. So, but maybe that they publicly that they publicly support
Here's,
the idea of,
here's the thing,
okay.
what this calls for, if you, the only person the only people that appoint chairs are the lieutenant governor and the, speaker, or, I'm sorry, yeah, lieutenant governor and speaker of the house.
Uh-huh.
So, they don't, our state representatives don't have anything to do with
But they do.
banning Democrats from holding a chair position.
They do because they elect the speaker.
They elect the speaker who then elects the chairmen. And so that's why I was injecting, to support, I don't know how the verbiage would be, but if you support someone who supports, the Speaker of the House, or lieutenant, to at least publicly support the idea to the Speaker of the House or announce to the Speaker of the House, and I agree with you, injecting, because the Senate is often overlooked, maybe even just adding or just using that verbiage. They don't necessarily directly, you're right, and I see what you're saying, they don't personally elect, but they do have a voice to publicly support or to not support the election of Democrat chairs, which falls in line with the RPT, if that makes sense.
It does, I'm trying to think how.
To verbiage it?
Well, the actual truth about that has nothing to do with who's the chair. It's not gonna, if you're for Democrat chairs, you don't, Phelan, not a Phelan supporter, and same way with Tinderhall. The truth of the matter is this has been a 53-year tradition, or 55-year tradition of the House. The conservative Democrats started it to bring in the few Republicans were there, so that they would not have each other blowing the place up, because in time they have done that, and so it was a courtesy thing. They usually gave them minor committees, but it was still, you had a seat at the table, and it kept that done. 10 years ago, we started getting close to flipping. When did we flip?
About 20 years ago.
94.
No, I talked about in the House.
Oh, in the House, it was.
We've held all
The House
three
was split
for
in
20
the-
years.
in the,
Like
2002 election is when we.
And that's when we elected Craddock.
Majority in
Right.
the House, and we elected Craddock.
Yeah,
So-
and Craddock's, half of his support were Democrats when they did that.
Oh, the Craddock D's, the whole.
Well, because we used to have conservative Democrats.
Yeah, this was also prior to Satanist being, and those who thought that it was okay to mutilate children.
Okay, yeah.
They're not
You got-
Democrats
You got
anymore.
a point there.
You had, look, we didn't have hardly any Republicans in the legislature before 1960, and very few in the 1960s. But as we started coming in and people, gained a little seniority, the Democrats made them chairs.
Yeah.
And so the whole tradition was in place by the time we finally took
Yeah,
it.
and it was to keep them from walking out, which didn't work last time.
Yeah.
The chairs three chairs that they had did not walk off, and one of them flipped to being a Republican. And that was one of the ones in the Valley, which was a very big deal. And then the other guy, the education guy, Dutton was his name, I think his name.
Yeah.
His deal was, he got in his committee passed the CRT legislation and the, what do you call it, the school bill that had
Gender.
yeah, no, not Jenny, yeah, he stopped, I was so surprised that got out of his committee, but it did. So it's not completely black and white, but, I don't, after they walked out, I have a real issue with them being there. I really didn't appreciate Senator Howard not Senator, she's a state rep, showing her drying her underwear on the media and stuff like that.
To Sheena's point,
Well,
there was a sense of stability prior to just the most recent few years.
yes,
Yeah.
And I think that the sense that it's being hijacked at this point.
yes.
Because I've testified in front of a lot of Democrats during the 87th and during the 3 special sessions. And while you still have some reasonable people, we can no longer afford, this is good and evil. And I can
No,
tell you,
we're
like,
at that point. It's not.
we cannot compromise,
We no longer have
We just-
conservative Democrats.
We just can't. And so that's why I think,
There are a few in the Valley.
Well, but that's not the vast majority. And when
No.
you've got a Democrat like the person who was the chair of the Educations Committee, while we're sitting there reading actual porn in our child's book, which, by the way, I just found in HEBISD, that's a real problem when we are literally called terrorists.
Did you say HEB?
From
Oh, HEB.
HEB, yeah. So I'm saying in the sense of like, we cannot compromise. And these elections, we held Tarrant County because we were able to get some conservatives out there to go vote. We have the elections coming up in May. And if we start compromising before our session even begins, that's a problem. And I'm very concerned. So while I understand maybe some of the verbiage that we were talking about, I think that it's important to at least inject or keep at least that they publicly support, because to everything that we just said, they cannot vote specifically, for it, but they can show support, or voice their opinions publicly to Patrick or to Phelan or whoever ends up being the Speaker of the House. They can at least do that.
Well,
And that's what
there's
we're calling
no
to do.
disagreement with the fact that these, I've been fighting Democrats ever since I was 14 years old. Actually, before that, third grade, I was a Goldwater guy in Lady Bird Johnson's hometown. So, yeah, I get it,
Love kid.
yeah. I went to UT and it was a target-rich environment. So.
I know, but let's, here, I think here's what we need to wordsmith the resolve part.
Right.
And that we call for every elected Republican state representative in Tarrant County to adhere to the RPT platform and ban Democrats from holding any committee chair positions in the House. I think what we should do there, because I think this would make more sense to me, at least the way that I read it, is we call for every elected Republican state representative in Tarrant County to adhere to the RPT platform, period. We call upon the Lieutenant Governor and the Speaker of the House
I like that.
to ban Democrats from holding any committee chair positions.
Well done.
And as I would say, and ask for Tarrant County state representatives and senators, to your point about the senators, to publicly support, because to publicly support
The ban.
the ban, or to uphold the ban. I don't know.
I
I'm
think
trying to
they-
figure out how to
To-
I'm trying to figure out how to word
Word
it.
it.
Call for every elected Republican state.
It's already in there.
Adhere to the RPT platform. We call for the Lieutenant Governor and Speaker of the House to ban Democrats from holding any committee chair positions. House representatives. How about, we need to change that to legislature. Period. The entire legislature.
Okay.
And then
Do we have a guess of who's going to replace Phelan, or is he going to be back? Tenderholt's running.
Tenderholt's running, but
Could get one vote.
But I think too, and I think that kind of goes along with, like, to call for the representatives and the senators that represent Tarrant County, the Tarrant County area, to publicly, because, like, for example, Jill Glover and a few others have publicly asked state representatives and state senators to say, yes, we do not want to support, Democrat chairs. And that's why, I guess, if we can somehow keep that.
so you would probably like to add, we call for the elected Republican state representative in Tarrant County to publicly adhere to the RPT platform. So what I'm hearing?
To public support this legislative priority.
Do you want to say platform? Because that's a really big thing, just about, when you talk, this document is about the
Platform.
Democrat chairs. When
Right.
you talk about the whole platform, that's the whole. everything.
Right, and we want it specific, so maybe like
So maybe
the
leave platform out and just say no Democrat chairs.
yeah, or like, is it like a, yeah, so, or like, is it called, like, would that be considered a plank
It's a legislative
or the
priority.
priority?
It's a legislative priority.
We don't
It's a
need to-
legislative priority, yeah.
But
The,
it is a legislative party. I don't know if it's.
the
a plank.
RPT,
It's
right? I think it was in
I
both.
didn't know if it got its
Yeah.
own.
It's 233,
Okay.
A, B, and C.
So maybe say something like,
Doesn't matter.
to publicly support the legislative priority and plank and plank,
Name it.
yeah,
Hold on.
233,
No
to
Democrat
ensure
chairs.
to ensure no Democrat chairs,
No Democrat committee chairs.
committee
Is that what you're
chairman.
gonna say?
Yeah, because I know I know she was saying too about trying to get the verbiage, so I'm like trying to think.
I was just trying to think of what you guys have been trying to do is to narrow this down to specifically what you're talking about.
Right.
That's why I asked, did you
You
really
said
say
it's 234, is that right?
233,
233, okay.
'cause
234 is also awesome, but 233.
But not this one,
Is-
but not this time.
Right. Well, it is actually on the same topic, but 233 directly pertains to what y'all are talking about.
The Democrat
Okay,
chairs.
233,
Yes.
okay, thank you. Plank, 233, okay. So, okay. Platform to publicly, okay, to call them to publicly. What was the word we used? Sorry, y'all.
to publicly support the,
Support, thank you. Why was that word
RPT.
escaping me?
I got you, I got you.
Sleepy
Publicly
lady.
support the RPT platform.
I'm bringing my
plank-
travel Keurig with
Do
me
it,
next time.
do it.
Plank number 234. Banning Democrat
The appointment of Democratic,
ban.
Democrat committee chairs.
Cheers. Okay, so here's what I got. So totally misspelled. I gotta hit the spelling thing too. We call for every elected Republican state, how about if we really need the word elected?
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so, let's ban, let's. We call for every Republican state representative, how about state legislator?
State legislator, that'll cover both the House and the Senate. Representing Tarrant County.
Okay, we call for all Republican state legislators representing Tarrant County to publicly support the RPT platform plank number 234, banning the appointment of Democrat committee chairs. We call for the Lieutenant Governor and the Speaker of the House to ban, that doesn't sound good. We call for the Lieutenant Governor and Speaker of the House to not appoint any Democrats.
Do you want to make it positive would be to appoint only Republicans.
There we go. Always stay with the
Thank you.
positive.
Yeah. To only appoint Republicans
Legislatures to
to chair.
To committee chair, chairman,
Committee chair position, that's good.
chair positions.
Okay, we call for every Republican state legislator, that has too many, sorry, y'all, representing Tarrant County to publicly support the RPT platform plank number 234, banning the appointment of Democrat committee chairs. We call for Lieutenant Governor and the Speaker of the House to only appoint Republicans to committee chair positions. Y'all like that?
Makes sense.
Do it one more time, if you would.
We call for every Republican state legislator. I don't think we need the word state in there either. Republican legislator. We call for every Republican legislator representing Tarrant County to publicly support the RPT platform plank number 234, banning the appointment of Democrat committee chairs. We call for the Lieutenant Governor and the Speaker of the House to only appoint Republicans to committee chair positions. Okay, good.
Was it 234 or 233?
Let me double check.
It's 233,
233, right.
and specifically subpoint B. but like 233 in total.
I'm just gonna put 233. Things. We want you to follow up.
Well, they like A. B is having some difficulty.
I have a motion to,
Okay, yes,
move we strike, in Tarrant County, I want, the entire state to pay attention.
okay.
You know, we're the big red county, so let's send it.
I'm sorry, where are you talking
I'm
about?
talking about where it says every state representative, or every legislator in Tarrant County. Why not just strike that and make it?
Are you talking about for that, for the one that she just did?
So you want to say every Republican legislator,
Period.
Texas
Texas,
legislator,
yeah.
Texas GOP legislator?
Yeah.
for every Texas Republican.
Well, if the Democrats want to vote against their own chairs, that's fine. We'll limit that. Yeah, because I think it should be all
Okay, so the motion is to strike Tarrant County, representing Tarrant County, and add the words every Texas Republican legislator.
of them.
Is there a second to that? Read it one more time. We call for every Texas Republican legislature. Legislator, sorry. We call for every Texas Republican legislator to publicly support the RPT platform plank number 233, banning the appointment of Democrat committee chairs. We call for the Lieutenant Governor and Speaker of the House to only appoint Republicans to committee chair positions.
Second.
That's right, you first. You seconded. Everybody in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, taking out here, okay. All right. So now,
Can I make a motion to just add at the bottom, like we did the verbiage of all the other ones?
yes.
Of where to send it to?
Yes.
And I just think that we just need to send it to our state legislators, not our Tarrant County officials. So maybe just suggest doing the verbiage that we did for the,
Another one, which was, send all elected Republican, like the entire Republican legislative,
yeah.
whatever, legislative. What's the word I'm looking for? My brain is stopping, guys, sorry. Yeah, it's getting late.
We are getting close.
So we're
to
almost
mine.
done.
Steve,
Okay, sorry, I've got to.
All the
I'm like, and names is, I'm so bad with names as it is. I'm lucky I remember my own.
What is your name? No.
Yeah, exactly.
Sheena.
You know what? The only reason why I remember my own name,
What's it?
Sheena Queen of the Jungle, Sheena Easton. Like that's it.
I mean, I've got one that I can.
Is it?
Yeah, he's got a little bit.
What is it you call me?
We need to do that.
Stevie Wonder. Yeah, that's how I say it.
Oh
And
yeah, yeah. See, that's what I have to do. I have to.
I call her Susie Q, so.
I love it. I love it.
It's my fault she got into party politics.
Oh my goodness.
So everybody can blame me.
Okay, be it further resolved, this resolution shall be sent to all Republican state legislators. Shouldn't it also go to the lieutenant governor and?
Yeah,
He's a legislator.
Well, he's a legislator,
he's a
that's true.
legislator.
But let's throw it in there. too.
Yeah, to the Speaker of the House and the lieutenant governor, or however, vice versa, whatever. I think that's a good idea.
And the Lieutenant Dan. Okay, so here's the resolved part. Be it further resolved, we call for every Texas Republican legislator to publicly support the RPT platform plank number 233, banning the appointment of Democrat committee chairs. We call for the Lieutenant Governor and the Speaker of the House to only appoint Republicans to committee chair positions.
Yay.
Be it further resolved, this resolution shall be sent to all Republican state legislators, the Speaker of the House, and the Lieutenant Governor. Does that sound good?
Yes.
Other thoughts? All right. Okay, is there anything in the whereases we need to look at?
The second whereas, you need to, here you need a and third, and fourth,
And,
and fifth.
Oh, like the verbiage?
Yeah,
Are you making a motion officially?
yes,
so, and whereas,
yeah, should be semicolon and.
John, right?
and whereas, according to the text. And. I'm bad on the English, so y'all gotta catch me on that.
I'm bad on the English,
actually, that's why I
Spanish,
want the-
everything.
The upper the
Because I am good.
You are good?
Yes.
Whereas the Republican, I think we probably, in my opinion, take a motion because I don't think we need that question in there. Why have state conventions if the RPT delegate priorities are just going to be ignored?
I agree with that.
Yeah, I agree.
I make a motion to remove that.
Second,
What part?
Laura, was it you that made that motion?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Repeat, please.
Strike
third paragraph,
third paragraph.
question, second sentence of the question.
Why have state conventions if the RPT delegates priorities are just going to be ignored? Strike that.
Yeah.
All right, all those in favor of striking?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? I think we should, this next sentence says, all GOP primaries should have a vote on the Texas floor, so delegates who voted on these primaries and passed them in the state convention. I think that pertains to a different resolution. I feel like this resolve is specifically about Democrat chairs.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I agree. I make a motion to remove that sentence as well.
I second.
Repeat.
That too.
okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, here's what it says. Whereas the Republican Party of Texas has clearly laid out a strong list of legislative priorities which provide a bare minimum list of necessary accomplishments for this upcoming session, and banning Democrats from holding committee chair positions is one of the top priorities that was passed at the state convention. It's a little wordy.
Yeah, a lot of these are.
Republican Party is clearly a certain privilege provided there. Strongest hurry. Include, how about if we do this? The Republican Party of Texas clearly laid out a strong list of legislative priorities, including banning Democrats from holding chair positions.
Hold on.
You're on the first whereas, right?
Yeah. The Republican Party of Texas clearly laid out a strong list of legislative priorities, including banning Democrats from holding committee chair positions.
Do we need to
As-
refer to the rank 2 through 3?
What?
Well, because priorities are not on the platform.
Okay.
So,
It is a plane, but
It
you're
is
talking
a-
about priorities.
yeah.
Here's what I recommend. Why do we keep having to reference RPT? Because most of the people that are precinct chairman did not go to convention. It's just a small number, and even smaller number voted on the priorities. I recommend that it's our desire for the Tarrant County Republican Party would like, says that we are the ones that want this to happen. And that will have a lot more weight than the RPT with the legislature. Because there's a huge rift between the legislature and the RPT right now.
So then, would you want to strike, that would mean we would strike the first two whereases.
But it's got, we gotta be the leaders in there.
I know.
Tarrant County Republican Party.
Yeah.
Right, so that would mean striking the first two whereases and just saying, whereas the Republican caucus will convene in December to choose for nominee Speaker of the House, who is tasked to select the chair of the committees in the House of Representatives. We would change that up completely. So it would now be
Tarrant County GOP.
proposed caucus
Yeah.
will be in December, yeah, okay, so that would mean striking all of this. And then saying, Republican caucus will meet in December to choose nominee Speaker of the House, who is tasked with to select committee chairs.
You could use part of the rationale as your first whereas.
Yeah.
Whereas the majority of state representatives who were elected in November are Republican. You can start with that. Are you looking for a starting whereas?
No, I think that we could just use the third whereas to start with and say, whereas the Republican caucus will convene in December to choose its nominee for Speaker of the House, who is tasked to select the committee chairs in the House of Representatives.
Should we also add instead of doing House of Representatives, like you said before, just do legislators to include, so this way it also includes the Senate?
So if they don't caucus,
Okay.
it's a different,
They're not gonna vote for the head of the,
maybe we don't have any whereases. What if we just say, resolve?
Do your job?
What if we just say, be it resolved?
Only it was
The Tarrant County, just totally skip the whereases. I mean, you don't have to have
No,
whereases.
you don't, and it's self-evident that the majority.
What if we just say, be it resolved, Tarrant County Republican Party calls every Texas Republican legislature, thank you, to publicly support the RPT platform, like number 233, banning appointment of Democrat committee chairs. We call for the Lieutenant Governor and the Speaker of the House to only appoint Republicans to committee chair positions. Be it further resolved, this resolution shall be sent to all Republican legislators and the Speaker of the House and Lieutenant Governor.
Can we do that? Can we not
Sure.
have any
Yeah.
whereas?
Sure we can.
I love it because this way we don't, so I'll make a motion to just strike all the whereases.
There you go.
Let's do it.
That's the first nuke we've had tonight. Yeah.
Woo!
I like that.
Well, and in the spirit of keeping it short and
Yeah.
sweet, so
Yeah.
hopefully,
Short and
yeah.
sweet.
I'm, hey,
All right,
I'm
all
good
those
at
in
this
favor
one.
of doing that, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, so,
Oh, that worked.
That's
Steve.
motion
sorry,
eight.
What you said there.
Can you tell? You can tell the ups and downs,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Your diagram
Yeah, I'll
in
tell you.
there.
It's bad.
Resolved. Okay, so this is what it says. Be resolved, the Tarrant County Republican
It's
Party.
in the corner.
It's from.
That's why I'm in the corner.
Legislative Branch
I have emotional, like, wild
Call.
swings.
Get the snacks.
Be resolved, the Tarrant County Republican Party calls for every Texas Republican legislator to publicly support the RPT platform. You don't need the RPT.
Okay.
Maybe we do need the word they don't. Never mind. The RPT platform, plank number 233, banning the appointment of Democrat committee chairs. We call for the Lieutenant Governor, the Speaker of the House, to only appoint Republicans.
What was that? That was a merger of like 3
I'm
different
not sure
words.
how many words that was.
That was great. That's greatness.
Republicans to
That's great.
and I didn't even hang up anything. To appoint appoint Republicans to committee chair positions. Further resolved, this resolution shall be sent to all Republican state legislators, the Speaker of the House, and the Lieutenant Governor.
Bingo.
I love it.
You might get a blue ribbon for the shortest one.
I love it. Okay, let's
Whoop, whoop.
vote. Let's call this one.
Do your job, though.
Okay. Okay, Mary,
Yes.
Laura,
Yay.
Steve,
Yay.
Mona,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Sheena.
Yay.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls,
Woo-hoo.
we're done. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I do have an announcement.
Oh, you have an announcement.
Okay, the assembly, like I said, is having their Christmas party on the 11th. But we voted to have our own local legislative priorities we're gonna vote on and promote. And those of you who have dues paid members, you can pay your dues there at that meeting or this, or the party, can vote on that, and we'll get more information about that. But since the convention, they left off property taxes, which is probably the number one issue to voters, and ballot integrity, which Harris County is pretty much a good example that we're not done there yet. And 2 years ago, they left off border, which, you know, is pretty wacky. But we're gonna try to fix some of those errors that they had. And
What
Bill,
did
I can
they
see
do?
you licking your chops.
Yeah, because, well, that whole vote at the state convention.
What did it do?
Valid.
Oh, yeah, it was against the rules. And he only had 2,500 people there, and it took them 3 weeks to count them. I guess they brought in people from Arizona to count our ballots. It was a disaster.
What did you say about dues?
If you're a dues